Hey everyone, my name is Omi and on the Arc Truth, and today it is 12:26 a.m. on November 26, 2020, a Thursday, which, by the way, happens to be Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to all you guys, and I know that a few of you probably have to deal with COVID restrictions across several states, such as in New York or even Pennsylvania, which I'm going to be talking about. I still hope to wish you guys the best and a pretty good Thanksgiving and having a great time to see your families. So let's get into the situation within Pennsylvania. Two things happened. Two major things happened, which could give some breathing room for Donald Trump and the Republicans, not only to present the evidence, but also to change up the certification. One, a judge in Pennsylvania ordered to halt the certification until an evidence hearing. And number two, just today, there was a legislative hearing within the city of Gettysburg that where Rudy Giuliani was, so that he can present his evidence from data to affidavits and so on. But first, let's look into this. Let's look into the situation with the judge specifically, and how that's going to make a big impact, and then follow up on the legislative hearing, because both of these two events are big in terms of possibly certifying the election results in Pennsylvania, or maybe going so far as to decide not to send electors in the first place, which would definitely give Donald Trump the chance to send this to the House of Representatives. So let's go and look at this article from Fox News, which, one, I will be posting in the link description below, and two, I understand that people are not liking Fox News, understandably, but right now I'm just going to be looking at one of their articles to explain the situation. Quote, a Pennsylvania state court issued an injunction Wednesday blocking any potential further certification of election results in the state pending a hearing to be held Friday. The order from Judge Patricia McCullough comes in the case brought by Pennsylvania voters, including Representative Mike Kelly, who is a Republican from Pennsylvania, in which they allege that state law allowing for no excuse absentee voting violated the Pennsylvania Constitution, which outlines specific cases where absentee voting is allowed. To the extent that there remains any further action to perfect the certification of the results of the 2020 general election for the office of President and Vice President of the United States of America, responders are preliminary enjoined from doing so pending an evidentiary hearing, McCullough wrote. This is going to be big. This is definitely, even though that this may supposedly be temporary, this definitely gives Donald Trump and anyone who is questioning the results of the election a stepping stone to present their case, because now they're going to need to send a lot of the evidence to a hearing. However, there are a lot of people, specifically Democrats, from Governor Wolf to the Secretary of State and even the Attorney General called Josh Shapiro, who are trying to get around this by appealing to the state Supreme Court. In fact, Attorney General Josh Shapiro actually went on Twitter to actually make the argument about that and actually say so. Quote, this order does not impact yesterday's appointment of electors. We will be filing an appeal with the Pennsylvania Supreme Court momentarily. And considering how partisan the state Supreme Court is in Pennsylvania, I think that is pretty likely that may occur. Pretty likely. However, that this still, even if the state Supreme Court does decide to grant this appeal, there's still a potential. There's this evidence hearing may possibly still be presented. I'm not a lawyer, but I think that this would probably be the case. And even then, Rudy Giuliani is making this case, especially with the legislative hearing that just occurred in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, which I have to say is a very appropriate location considering the situation that the country is in over the issue of this election, whether or not there was fraud, and it's looking heavily that there was fraud. Not just in Pennsylvania, but in Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia. And since this is the first legislative hearing that's going to be going on over electoral fraud, in fact, there's going to be another one in Michigan sometime this week. Again, it's a pretty appropriate thing to be held in Gettysburg. So, during that hearing, Rudy Giuliani managed to make his case. And one major example, he got a data analysis to show a major spike in Biden votes. And as it turns out, there was over 600,000 votes that were processed. At least 570,000 went to Biden. 3,200 for Trump. And that is completely insane. Because that's basically not, that's nearly 100% turnout for Biden. At least 99%. Never mind the fact that there's still that big portion of votes that may have gone to other third-party candidates, such as Joe Jorgensen of the Libertarian Party and another candidate of the Green Party, which I don't recall, and probably a few others. But 3,200 for just Donald Trump, while Joe Biden makes this huge spike of at least 570,000. That alone was my big takeaway. And of course, there was presentation of testimony and affidavits towards the legislative hearing. If you guys want, I will be posting the link down in the description down below from Brightside Broadcasting if you guys want to listen to it in its entirety. Keep in mind, it's about an hour and 30 minutes long, so prepare yourselves for a long hearing. But I think that I think this could definitely have a major impact on Pennsylvania. While, again, it is true that Governor Wolf and, of course, Attorney General Josh Shapiro is trying to make an appeal to the Supreme Court to continue the certification, I think that only highlights their nervousness. They're trying to legitimize the Biden presidency before it's even begun. Despite the fact that there's these major lawsuits and these affidavits, these whistleblowers, and these major irregularities going on just in the state of Pennsylvania, they are trying to rush this. However, even if they did rush this, the evidence there's still a few other pathways towards Donald Trump's victory. Of course, in the courts, like I said before, with Patricia McCullough deciding to set up an evidence hearing and of course halting it, but also with trying to appeal towards the Supreme Court to invalidate illegal votes that came after November 3rd. But even if that was the case, and again, this is just focusing on the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the amount of evidence presented in that hearing alone is probably call into doubt of the legislator. And it's the legislator that Rudy Giuliani needs to convince to decertify the election. Because they're the ones who appoint the electors. Within the electors, the electors can easily decide, due to the fact that there may be no certification whatsoever, or there is of course the whole evidence hearing. They may just decide not to send their electors in the first place. If that's the case, then the electors cannot be counted for Joe Biden. And I think either way, whether or not Attorney General Josh Shapiro manages to get his appeal, I think that's looking like Pennsylvania may not certify, or well, may not send its electors to Washington in order to count them. I'm kind of thinking that, but at the same time, I'm having my doubts because I did say in my previous video that I thought that Michigan wouldn't certify, even though unfortunately they did, because all the Republicans except one decided to vote present, while the other one decided to defect and join with the Democrats, despite the problems of Republican posters not being allowed into audits, or the data irregularities, and just so much more. There is still that pathway for Donald Trump to win, and I'm still seeing that. But the Democrats are doing their damnedest in order to push Joe Biden into the White House. But right now, these two major events, just in the state of Pennsylvania, are handing Trump important victories. He's now presented his case. He's now, thanks to Rudy Giuliani, his lawyer, has now presented his case towards the legislature, and now a judge is trying to look into the evidence of said allegations, and even blocking the certification. I believe that this could potentially at least, give Donald Trump Pennsylvania. Though I cannot be 100% certain on that. And as a result, we have to wait and see. My name is Noah Meehan on The Arc Truth. Please post your comments down below, like this video, subscribe, and share with your friends. Also, if you have any issues regarding my videos, such as how I speak, or how I frame stuff, or any improvements whatsoever you'd like for me to work on, please post them down in the comment section below, or directly message me. Thank you.
Almost heaven.